Hi, this is the Tiny Home Geniuses podcast, and welcome to you. It's hosted by Kathleen, the good looking one, and Peter, the old one who's talking now. We're going to bring this to you every week. We'll also have the video version on our YouTube channel, and you can find links to the podcast, the YouTube channel, and of course our website, plus our other social media platforms on the podcast page of our website. The link will be underneath this notice. So what are we doing here? Well, we've been aware of the growing interest in the tiny homes movement in North America and elsewhere, and it's driven by the times we live in, the unaffordability of houses, the desire for a better lifestyle, concern over the environment, and a few other factors. So we're enabling people to join the movement and downsize. But I'm going to hand over to Kathleen, and she's going to talk a bit more on why the tiny home movement is taking off so dramatically. So it's over to you, Kathleen.
Yes, thank you, Peter. In fact, the tiny home movement has been really taken off in the last 7 years, actually. More so in the last 4, has really shot up, especially with the advent of these new programs on television, the Tiny Home Nation, Tiny Home Builders, and it features families wanting to downsize, not just couples, but families and retirees wanting to get out of their bigger homes, and in some cases it's simply a lifestyle choice, given that people are tired of being enslaved to their debt, enslaved to their mortgage. They want freedom, they want experiences, and having simply a 9-to-5 job every day just doesn't afford that for them anymore. And so the tiny home movement is really a push to go into a minimalistic lifestyle, getting rid of clutter, getting rid of stuff that people just don't need anymore, and in lieu of enjoying an experience. So what they're saving, they put back into the experience. It's also a way for them to bring their home with them if they're traveling throughout North America, and it saves on hotels. So there's a lot of benefits to it. There's a very big appeal to the tiny home movement, and it's taken off.
Good. That wraps it up pretty well there, Kathleen. There's a few other factors, but as you say, it's driven by unaffordability of housing and also concern for better lifestyle. I've just been watching a program on TV called How to Live Without a Mortgage. It's a British program, and they have some amazing ideas in there. There's one guy's wife is in a wheelchair, and they can't afford their rent of something like £1,500 a month. So he's converted a double-decker bus, and he's put elevators in there to get her from the bottom to the top, and a really neat chair that she can pump up and down to get to upwards kitchen units. So there's all sorts of ideas that are tagged on to the tiny home movement. It doesn't have to be a conventional-looking house, and it doesn't have to be a conventional mobile type house either. Kathleen, have you got any more thoughts on ideas on the tiny home movement?
It's really appealing to the millennial generation. I mean, it's not exclusive to the millennials, but I think the millennials are finding it more and more difficult to buy a conventional home, if you will, in this day and age. They have to save a lot of money for a down payment, and in many cases, they simply don't have that. And the affordability of a tiny home is really what drives them to do that, and also to rent a piece of land. So if they know somebody with a farm that they can put their tiny home and then travel with it, it really is appealing to our millennials that are just trying to get started in life and in their careers.
Absolutely. The same program I mentioned a few minutes ago, I was watching an episode today while I was having my lunch, and the presenter was saying that in England, about 15 years ago, the average age of people taking out their first mortgage was 23. It's now over 30 and heading upwards, and many never even get on that ladder. So what you say is absolutely correct. For many couples and individuals, their only chance of ever getting out of their parents' basement or a friend's apartment is a tiny home. Have you got, what's your next thoughts on that? Kathleen, you keep going.
Right. What we would like to feature in the next podcasts is, and of course, if there's anyone out there that is in the process of building a tiny home and would like to share their experience with us, we would love to hear from you. Share with us your woes and the excitement of what you're going through and what you have to go through in terms of building permits and furnishings. Let us know that experience. We're very much interested in that. Wouldn't you say, Peter?
Absolutely. We are coming up to our 5-minute cutoff time, and we know we don't want to keep going too long. We intend keeping these podcasts around about the 5-minute mark to make it quick to listen. A couple of other things we're going to be featuring in the future is working with politicians at all levels of government, especially in Canada, more so than the USA, to make it easier for people to build and put tiny homes somewhere so they can live in them all year, because the modern designs are completely winterized for our severe winters. So there's no reason why we can't have people living them all year round. So that's a big one coming up. And as Kathleen says, we're looking for people to share their experiences, and we'll be featuring house designs, trailer designs, equipment that we think is good or we've used ourselves. All that's coming up in future episodes. So that's it from me, and I'll just hand over to Kathleen to say goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Thank you.